Welcome to iRide TV. I'm Bill.
I'm Scott.
And this is the next part of our series discussing helmet certifications.
So we're basically going to cover what DOT is and then kind of compare back and forth in between ECE and SNELL.
DOT is obviously the one you're most familiar with, as it's the one that's going to be on any helmets that are approved by the National Highway Safety Administration for on-road use. They have a couple tests that you would expect them to take. The first obviously is a drop test where they actually drop the helmet onto both a flat and a curved surface to make sure that it maintains integrity. The other test they do is a penetration test, and which is literally they take a spike, they drop it on the helmet, and if it penetrates to where the head form would be, obviously it does not pass. The one thing that you may not think about that they also test for is the retention system, meaning your chin strap. And what they do is they'll test it by adding weight on it, and it has to pass a certain threshold before it snaps. It also dictates how that chin strap is attached into the helmet. Now, obviously, that's going to be on all the helmets that we carry here, and you'll easily notice labeling will be right on the back of the helmet. The other two are fairly similar, and you may not be completely familiar with them. One is ECE, and the other is going to be SNELL. So, for starters, ECE is the European equivalent of SNELL. They have all the same tests as DOT, as well as a few differences. So now, obviously, there's 47 countries in the EU that this is their standard for safety. The two big differences that when you step up from DOT to a SNELL helmet is they do two additional tests. They do all the other testing, but they do two additional tests. The first one is going to be a surface abrasion test, which literally means that the helmet has to slide over a surface, which I believe there's a similar idea with SNELL in terms of high points.
Right. I want to say on SNELL it's a 7mm, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say ECE is a 5mm.
It is. That is correct.
Yep.
They actually test the face shields themselves. So now, how do they do that in the SNELL rating?
With SNELL, what they do is they actually take a projectile and they shoot it at the shield to make sure that that's not going to crack and it's not going to puncture all the way through.
So what you'll notice if you actually look at an ECE helmet and take the shield off, you can almost bend them. So that's the basics on ECE. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's also some above and beyond requirements for SNELL.
There are. So not just testing one helmet, but they actually test 4 helmets at once. They'll do a cold, they'll do a wet, they'll do a hot, and then they'll do a room temperature. So, as all the tests that we kind of talked about being, hitting on the head with the flat and the hemispherical and all those other tests, they do all those, and then they also, on top of those 4 tests, they also do a chemical test on each one of them.
Very interesting. Now, the last thing that they do have in common that you may not even think about is that they actually test the shields on all the helmets. Now, they're both basically use the same idea, which is basically shoot a projectile at the shields to make sure that there's no cracks or breaks, which is something that DOT does not do. So that's just the real basics of helmet safety and the certifications therein. So if you have any more questions, feel free to come on in, talk to myself, talk to Scott, or any of the other apparel specialists here at Fox Powersports. Thank you for watching iRide TV. I'm Bill.
I'm Scott.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to catch all of our episodes.
We'll see you next time
on iRide TV.